a hat, PVA glue, 2 pairs of trousers, some toilet paper, some paint, 2 bed sheets, and a hula hoop are all going to be combined to make this outfit. Welcome to Horizon Cosplay's Historical Halloween 2020. So the plan is to make this costume out of this questionable pile of materials, or junk, depending on what you want to call it. In the original picture, which is luckily on the front cover of the book, you can't see any seams on her bodice, but I'm kind of thinking I might do it kind of like I would a corset in different sections. So do 1 piece for the front, 1 piece for the back, and then 2 pieces for either side that are going to actually shape it so that it fits me. Ignore those are bad. But yeah, so we are going to give that a go. And then the other thing I've done is just trace out a pattern for a collar. I literally trace this off my computer screen, so I need to neaten up all the lines and see if this is actually going to fit me, because I think it might be a bit big. And once we've got the collar, we'll look at doing the skirt. But for today, let's just focus on the top. I needed to check how much fabric the hula hoop was going to take up to cover, and in check I discovered that the glittery silver and pink that the hula hoop is coloured in shows through the fabric really badly. And so I came up with Plan B. Plan B, if any of you were wondering, was to put some plastic bags down on the floor so I didn't ruin it, and paper mache the hula hoop as I had no white paint but plenty of toilet roll.
Okay, so this is the easiest way to film this, so excuse me for the weird cat jelly beaning in a circle kind of thing. It's like 4 in the morning, but I can't sleep, so I'm going to do the next layer of paper mache now. I've got the cats for company, I've got YouTube on, and we're just going to get on with it, and then maybe I'll go back to sleep in an hour and wake up to do the next layer of paper mache and see how we go. Alrighty.
So earlier I did a section of the hula hoop and then I left it to dry, and I woke up to this. Toilet paper torn up and all over the floor. And whose fault is it? Is it your fault? Look at that. Totally innocent, roly-poly, nonchalant. But I think I know who tore up the toilet paper. Was it you, Girly Bear? Was it you, Lily Cat? Meow! Is that a yes? Are you admitting your guilt? No, because cats would never admit guilt. So, it's day 3, day 4 of this project, and I've managed to paper mache a hula hoop. Such progress! Just quickly, because I feel like this needs an explanation, because it's been going on for a few videos now, you might notice that my eye is rather swollen, and that is because the doctors don't know what's wrong with it, but it swells up, and it goes down, and it swells up, and it goes down, and so if I spend a lot of this video looking like a one-eyed gremlin, that is why. And it hurts, and I don't feel great, but we're pushing through, because that's what you do when you have a really cool project like this to do. And yes, the next thing on my list is cutting out the pieces for the skirt, and then maybe draping the bodice, and if I get that done today, I will be happy. Tea? Okay, let's see how we get on. To make sure my skirt was going to be the right size, I put it in between the 2 layers of fabric and then pinned it in place, giving it quite a lot of seam allowance on all sides basically. This was so that once it was cut out, I could fold over the edges and hand stitch around the hula hoop, keeping it permanently inside the skirt. The hand stitching was actually really fun and, to be honest, quite easy, though it did take a while to complete. I think I got through about 3 movies and at least 2 to 4 20-minute episodes of anime just with the hand stitching around the skirt. Okay, so I've spent literally all day doing this giant white moon circle. So the plan is, once I've done the bodice, I'm going to cut a big hole in the middle and just stick it straight on. But it's all hand stitched. It's pretty sturdy. I'm quite happy with it. Can't hula hoop anymore, which is just one of those things. And yeah, so I'm going to drape the bodice this afternoon and pin it all together, and then maybe look at sewing it tomorrow or tonight, depending on how late I wish to stay up. Okay, so it is the next day and I got nothing done.
Wait, lies. I did this. Look, I made a pony. Isn't it cute? However, it doesn't help me with the Halloween costume, and so I'm just going to get in the shower, actually get dressed, and then we are going to drape and sew and all the rest of it, and my camera doesn't want to focus on me because there's sunlight behind, but we'll survive.
I started by cutting out the collar. I spent probably about half the day trying and failing to drape on my body because I'm just not used to having a dress mannequin, not having a dress mannequin, and it's just one of those things. And after failing, trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing again, I came up with a plan, which was to trace the pattern of one of my favourite and best fitting dresses onto the fabric and cut it out in the god hopes that it will fit, because at this point I pretty much had no fabric left. It all looked good, so I pinned it all together and then gave it a stitch. Trying it on, it seemed to fit fairly well, however I decided that the side closure just wasn't going to work and changed my plan to a back closure instead, which also meant altering some of the pattern pieces slightly and also a bit of unpicking. Thankfully, adjusting the pattern pieces that needed adjusting and putting it all back together again didn't take too long. A quick and easy stitch later and the top was nearly done. Okay, so small problem, which is the fact that the cats have been using the 2 pairs of black trousers that I have for this costume to sleep on. So I can't do anything with those at the moment, so they're going to go in the wash. I am going to go through my shirt with some thinking shears and just basically zigzag all of the edges. Oh yeah, the reason I am not using an iron in these projects is because my iron is broken. You should always use an iron. It greatly improves your sewing, but right now I don't have one. Rather than buy another iron, because I didn't think it'd be as broken as it is, I did buy a steamer, which has turned out to be really shit. And in a minute I need to do the collar, which is going to involve iron-on interfacing, and I'm still figuring out how to make that work. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So black fabric's going in the wash, can't use that till tomorrow. Pinking shear these, sew the front and back together, fold them inside out, and then maybe do some stitch and a ditch down the lines to keep the front and back together in place. I might even do that by hand if I want to be picky. And then it'll be a case of attaching the skirt. Let's go! Life advice for everyone out there who sews themselves: invest in a pair of good scissors. Don't just buy cheap ones like I did with these pinking shears. They were a nightmare, rubbish, and many other words which I probably shouldn't include on this YouTube video, just in case it does get banned somewhere. But despite my struggles and the scissors being genuinely rubbish, 90% of it actually did come out quite well.
Okay, so problem time. I need to use iron-on interfacing for the collar. It's the only interfacing I have, and I'm not going to go out and get more because money and stuff. But my iron, as mentioned earlier, doesn't really work. So we're going to play around, see if we can make it work, even if it's just on dry mode, and see how we go. Last time it was leaving dark stains on fabric, so I'm not going to put it on my actual collar because I have no more fabric left in case it does that, unless I'm really confident with it. So let's see how we go. Okay, we seem to have fixed the iron. It did come out with like all these little sandy bits, and there are some marks on the fabric, but by the end we weren't getting anything. So I'm fairly confident that we can use the iron-on interfacing. At least I'm still not 100% of using it on the actual shirt, but we'll do the interfacing first, see how we go, and then hopefully I can actually iron the shirt and seams as well, because it would make it look a whole lot better if it was ironed. Because remember, ironing improves your costumes, people. Very, very important lesson. Alright, let's on to the collar.
In the end, the collar came out so well that I couldn't resist giving the rest of the outfit an iron too. Pinning the collar pieces together was also nice and easy. A quick stitch on the inside and some top stitching later, and it was time for a cat break. Just look at how cute Sherlock is.
So this is the result of my pinning, and now it's time to sew the collar together.
At this point, I once again checked the fit and also how high I needed the collar to be to go around my neck. Unfortunately, as I don't have a full-length mirror in my house, the best solution I could come up with for this was actually using the camera screen, and thus you got it all recorded.
What are you doing? Are you on top of the giant dog? Sherlock.
The next thing on my list was to go through the button jar and find a suitable button, a job that took surprisingly longer than expected. Once the button was selected, having no buttonhole fit on my sewing machine, I hand-stitched the buttonhole, which was a surprising and challenging thing to do. The next thing I did was hand-stitch the button on, and before you knew it, we had a closure at the neckline.
So I just got Ben to mark out these dotted lines where I pinned it onto me so that it fit really, really perfectly. And this is probably where I'm going to put the zip. And my camera hates this right now, so let's just get on with it.
The first proper try-on looked good, it fit and was comfy. What more could I ask for? Okay, quick update. Last night I managed to do this. I've pinned the shirt in place. I do think I'm going to adjust it because if we hold it up, the angle of it just is a bit too steep for what I think it should be. However, the other thing I did was put some hook and eyes in the collar to hold up the part that was not attached. Hooks and eyes, how cool! And I also sewed the button. So hopefully that'll be good, and now it's just pinning it to the skirt at the right angle, and we'll see how we go. Also, the zipper I brought is like ridiculously too long. For some reason I thought it would need to be a lot bigger than that, so we might cut it a bit shorter and see how we go with that. Wish me luck! The second pinning was much more successful with the correct angle this time, and I was ready to cut a hole in the skirt that I had spent so long laboriously hand sewing. In the end, it looked like a giant polo mint. Once the top and skirt were pinned together, I realised it wasn't going to fit on my machine, and so it was going to have to be hand stitched too.
Okay, so this is what the fabrics tests look like when they're dry. So we have green, orange, yellow, purple, blue and pink, and then in glow in the dark, what's supposed to be a greeny yellow, a blue and a pink. Not sure if the glow in the dark works, we'll have a look tonight, see how it goes, but the rest of them look actually quite good. Okay, so it's going well, hand stitching is getting there. I'm going to finish it off, but I just really wanted to share this with you guys. So I went down to my parents' house this weekend, picked up a few bits and pieces. While I was there, went into a charity shop that was closing down, brought this random box of just sewing stuff that some old lady had dropped off, and two amazing finds. Firstly, we've got this vintage reel of thread, which is, I don't know if there's a date on it, cotton thread, made in Great Britain by MR, but it's just so freaking gorgeous. Like, look at the aesthetic. And then the other thing is this H. Millwood and Sons registered needles number 7, made in Redditch, England, and in England, May 7th, 1857, in America, 19th of April, 1859. I don't know exactly when these were made, but just look at that packet. So, I just did the most stupid thing. And I'm crying because this dress has taken me so freaking long, and I just did the most stupid thing at the last hurdle. So I pinned the zip here, the zip down, and I pinned the zip down, got it perfect, and I just went, I had to trim the zip a little bit, so I took the top notches that, you know, stop this bit from flying off, and then I whipped the zip up really quick, and it flew off, and now I can't get it back on. And it's so stupid because it's pinned perfectly. I just need to get this bit back on, and then I can hand stitch the zipper, and then the dress is fully sewn and done. And I'm going to blame this on the fact that I had a glass of moonshine while finishing up the hand stitching. And this is why you should not drink and sew, because you'll get something perfect
nearly finished, ready to binge watch a bunch of YouTube videos and finish it tonight, and then you'll do one stupid thing, like whipping up the zipper, which I was literally thinking, I must remember not to do that, because I've done this before. This isn't even the first time I've made this mistake. I have literally done this before, and I've just done it again, and now I'm sad. So I'm going to put the zipper on the side, I'm going to go walk away, go to bed, probably still binge watch a bunch of YouTube videos, just be unproductive and lay in bed and do that instead. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to try and put this back on. I'm a little bit over this project right now. I can't wait to finish it. As soon as the sewing's done, it's going to be great, but the rest of it, right this second, all the sewing, I want a break. Alright, night guys, and we'll see you in the morning.
There was no way that zip was ever going back on, but luckily the part that I'd cut off with the zipper was long enough to re-pin to the dress, and I could get the zip on that bit. So I unpinned all my perfect pinning, re-pinned the new zipper, and then hand stitched along both sides as the final piece to this dress, and gosh am I glad that it is over. Okay guys, we're finally done! Yay! Oh, I feel like I'm wearing a giant pillow, but I think it looks really good. It fits me beautifully. Admittedly, upon putting it on for the last time, one thing I never considered was that I literally own no bras that will not show under this dress, either because the straps across the back and the back is too low, or because they have straps on the shoulders, and obviously this is a halter neck dress. However, without a bra, it looks fine, and it fits me well enough that I'm not going to be having any boob slippage anywhere. Overall, I'm super happy with it, to be honest. It came out so well, and I'm just so happy that it's finished. Which is great, really. I mean, there's a little bit of a stretch where I think I just didn't sew it tight enough to the hips just here. However, I'd say it's more or less perfect. Other than that, I have no complaints. The collar, I've never done a collar before. Literally first one I've ever made, and it is just amazing. So our next job is going to be to paint this dress. So I've got to dye the hat black, paint the dress, attach some paintbrushes to the hat, and then we're going to have a vintage paint palette Halloween costume. The other thing is I can't put my hands down. Like if I put my hands, I have to be resting. But honestly, I love this so much. It's just whee. Alrighty. If you liked the making of this dress and would like to watch me paint it and do the hat and all the rest of it and then have an actual modelling day, please like and subscribe to help me out. This dress ended up being a 3-week project, and considering I thought I'd managed this in 5 days, it's a little bit more extended than what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, such is life. Hopefully it will only take me a day to paint. But yeah, so please like, subscribe, stay tuned for next week when you'll see me paint this, and happy spooky season, people! Bye!